So great. I hope my voice is clear and audible. Hello again. So the main question is how to change the photonic crystal geometry in the predefined. For example, if you remember, this is the file that we download from this link as a solved example, the modes of photonic crystal fiber, and you can log into and download the file. Actually, we are about to how to change this circular crystal to be, for example, rectangular or whatever. So if you are about to validate different papers, and maybe you can see different structures and different geometry, of course. So download this file, and you can find it all the predefined BML and fiber and the photonic crystal itself. Remember, photonic crystal is the L cavity from here, from the component photonic crystal, and you can add the hexagonal lattice BCH cavity, you know, if you remember that from the last lecture. So right now we are about to change. How can we change these photonic crystal geometry to be, for example, from circle to be rectangle, for example? So we are about to go to the script itself, the script from here. So you can find that we need to add circle, and of course the parameters for circle is radius, and if you can read here, the A is the lattice constant. You know, it's very important for you to define the lattice constant from the beginning. So if we are about to add circle, we need to define the radius, you know. So how can we can add a square, for example, add square here, and we can test. But oops, we have an error because add a square is not a valid function or variable name. So we have a problem here. How can we fix this? So actually, we can go to Lumerical and search for Lumerical Scripting Language. And choose the categorical one by category. And you can find adding objects, manipulating the object, material database, or whatever. You can do anything from the scripting language, access data, analyze data, and whatever. Of course, center correct and whatever. But now we are if you remember that we need to change the structure. So add a circle primitive. So we need to add, not, we can add, of course, pyramid or whatever, but we need to add rect, no, a rectangle. Of course, a square is a very special case from the rectangle. So we can add a square, of course, if we add only a rectangle. So now we are at rect. I see you this link because you can manipulate or use different functions to add what you want, you know, from here. So please, you can go with the same steps if you need to define or you need to do anything using the script. It's a very valuable tool, you know. Great. So back to our structure, back to our solved example. We can add a rectangle. Right. So if we go back to this and add objects, how can we add rectangle? We can. This is actually a sample from here. You can add a rectangle. Great. So back to this. So great. So circle, we need to add a rectangle the same way we add circle. You know, so they defined circle from X and Y, you know. So we can remove the name, and we can remove the Z span, and we can remove, of course, the material, because if you remember, we add the material from the properties here. No, if you remember that. So it's defined already. So only we need to add a rectangle with these parameters. So for example, we need to set X not 1 micro, but we take the same parameter from the circle to be here. It's pretty easy actually, and set y span to be 0. Great. So what is x span and y span? It's very important because now we need to remove that circle. So actually, if you remember here, we need to simplify the variable names, you know. So for example, there is a z span. The same way we need to add the x span and y span, right? X and y, x and y, right? But it's very important note that we need to add them again to the properties itself, because there is no need to the radius. So we can call it that span, x span, you know. And we need to add because the main parameter for the circle is the radius. But if we need to replace it to add the rectangle, we need the x span, we need the x and the y, the length is for the rectangle itself. So we need to add this span here. We need to add those important parameters. Of course, we need to change it from number to length because we add different properties, is frequency, time, whatever, but we need to add only the length. We can set it to the same to be the square. You know, if you need to make this rectangle a square, you need the x span is equal to y span, of course. So great, we add the properties for the rectangle. So back again to the script itself. If we go there, we need to set, remove the radius, you know. And set x and y. That's very easy. X and y. X and y. Very easy, right? So we remove. So if you read this function actually is draw the center row. So actually the x span is the input. So we need to make it x span from here, right? It's very important because it's actually a variable and y span is the same. So to take the same, of course, if you have this program, any programming experience, you can understand that it's very easy. So now we draw the center row. Let's test it if we have any. Oh, wow. So we have a lot of, so if we go to the line 86, whatever, 68, you can find it. So now you can find that we change it already to p squared, right? But we change only what? We change only the center row. We need to change the same. So we take the same example here, add rectangle, and make it from here to add the same one. So whatever. And we can take this from here to be the y. So, right? Then we need to remove this. Again, you know, due to the symmetric one, the main thing is we need to take the minus the y, because the minus one is regarded to is the same for the positive one. So the main difference is we need to set it to be minus. Right? It's very easy. Actually, and we take the same rectangle to add it here for the else. Right. You know, it's very important to test it again. Great. So now our symbol is the magic is begin, you know. So we can set, you can right now, you change the circle to be square. So if we need to change, for example, please, if you can take this, the center one, or what, or anyone, you can take this and go to this. How can we change the number? So we can change it to be 6, to notice to be 2. So you can actually take this change to apply to all photonic crystals, and we have the same BML for different structures. So it's very important to do the same job if you are about to change it to square, change it to whatever, to rectangle, or any other geometric structure. And of course, if you are about to change the lattice constant to be, for example, 30, you can do this. Right? Do you notice the difference? So we can set it to be 10, for example, or whatever, to be more condensed than if there is that regarding to your structure. So it's very important to do the same job. And of course, I really recommend to you the script to do any change regarding your geometry, not to do not to break this to break the group and to change it one by one. It's very time consuming, and of course I don't recommend to do that, because mainly you cannot change it one by one, So that's it. We changed the photonic crystal geometry using numerical scripting language. So it's also I need to know you to note how can you change the material itself to be whatever. And I will. It's a very long topic. I will only mention the summary of it, and we can move on it very quickly to have this intuition. So if you notice that most of the predefined are sample data, so we need to define wavelengths, refractive index, and the real part and the imaginary part. Most of the data are sampled. So if you need to add new data, for example, Xenix or whatever, or for example, a blood cell here, if you are about to create biomedical photonic sensor, you can add a blood or whatever, but of course you can extract the data from here, but you can go to the data and click. Yes, that's it. You can download these data. This is a refractive index, and this is a wavelength, and you can add it from here to sample the 3D data. You can find the wavelengths, and of course the real part, and if you want to, after downloading the data, you can import it from here. You can change the unit. Actually, the unit for this wavelength is I don't remember, but we can get it right now. Yes, the wavelength, I think, is micrometer. Great. So after downloading, we can download, of course, the CSV data from here, and we need to only import it from here, and we can change, of course, the wavelengths to be microns, and select the file that you download and go. So it's very easy to add the data, any data to be sampled. Only what you need to know is wavelength, the real part. Only you can do the real part, and we can set the imaginary part to be 0, but you need, of course, if it's more accurate, needed to be the real part and the imaginary part of at specific wavelengths, at the range of wavelengths. So now we know. Actually, that is a general way on how to add any new material to Lumerical. And of course, you need to don't forget to fit the data. It's very important to fit the data before doing your simulation, before running your simulation. So great. Now we know how to change the photonic crystal geometry using Lumerical Scripting Language, and we move we pass by how to add very simply the material using sampled data. So great. Thank you very much.